Hi, welcome to houseimprovements.com. I'm Shannon and I'm going to show you how to install a bathtub in this bathroom. We've got a fiberglass bathtub and we're going to install it here where we removed an old tub. You might have watched that video already on our YouTube channel about removing a tub, but if you haven't, you might want to check it out. Anyways, this is the space we're working with. So like I said, there was an existing tub here. We've taken it out completely. So you can see down here we've got the hole in the floor where the access for the drain and everything is right here. This particular one, it looks like it's going to work out for our new tub as well. As far as lining up, we don't have to cut the hole any bigger. We've got our instruction book that comes with the bathtub. There might be some information in there that you want. If you're just framing a new bathroom, the instruction book will tell you exactly the dimensions you need for your framing, in order for the tub to fit, and different vital information possibly for some of the drains and that too. So read through your manual first before you start. What we're going to need in this case is we need a tub drain kit. So this kit comes with all the fittings and pieces and everything that we need to actually construct the drain and the overflow for the tub. Purchased separately, we need a P-trap. So the drain and everything for the tub will be up here. Actually, this is the one off the old tub. So here's the drain in the tub, here's the vent up on the front end of the tub, and this would then connect to the P-trap. So I just kind of kept this just for a demonstration so you can kind of see what we had to do. So once the tub is in place, then this plumbing will get attached to the plumbing down below, the P-trap and everything, and look something like that. We're going to show you how to cut all that and configure it and everything as well, actually in a bigger room where we have a little more space. But this just gives you a rough idea what we're kind of shooting for. In this particular case, and maybe even in the case you have for your situation, right here we have a floor joist. Really, it's quite likely it's going to be a little bit in the way, so hopefully it isn't and we don't have to deal too much with it. You can see in the last installation somebody has gouged some of it out with a saw in order to get past it with the fittings. I guess they were having trouble with this lip, it looks like, needing to get over just a little bit more. So you can see it is gouged out. You don't want to go too crazy gouging that out, right? Because it is a floor joist. That's what's helping hold up the weight of your bathtub and everything else in this area. So hopefully we don't have to do any major construction on that as far as replacing it and moving it over. I already mentioned this hole should be big enough to accommodate the new plumbing on the tub itself. We've got the existing water supply and valve still in the wall, and we'll be reusing some of that, so that's just staying there for right now. Another thing to look at before you get too far along is measuring the width of your tub, the actual width, and figuring out where from against this wall it ends up coming over here. You don't want it to end up on a stud where this front edge of the tub is, because when you go to put the tub in, and you'll see when I do it, we need a little bit of room. So if this is the tub down here, the front edge, when we're leaning it down in here, you need to be able to actually get the tub partially in here so that when it drops into place, there's room for it. If this is in the way, it's going to give you a lot of trouble. Just depending on your situation, you might be able to get away with, if this was in your way, just bringing the tub out to a space here. Once you have it drop down close to the level, then you could slide it back carefully into place. So that is an option as well. But if you have a big mass of wood here or whatever, you might be in trouble and you may have to remove it temporarily until you get your tub actually into place. Just trying to think here off the top of my head if there's anything else I should mention. You won't always have access to your plumbing down below. I mean, this could have been a concrete slab that we're working with, so then it gets a little more difficult again as well, especially if your drain and everything doesn't line up with the existing in the floor. You may have to actually break out some concrete to reposition that drain. Here we've got some limited access below the floor. We're up on the first floor of the building. There's a basement underneath us. We do have some limited access there, not great, but there is some access. We also have some access right through the back side of this wall. There's a panel there, so once the tub's in place, I can actually see from the other room over there back this way as well. So that will be helpful if you have those options. You know, possibly if you needed to cut a hole in the wall here, you know, if that happened to be a closet or something, and you could just put an access panel there after, or you could patch the drywall if you needed to. But it's nice to have some extra space to be able to see what you're doing. Because once the tub's in here, it's a little difficult to see what's going on. One of the first things we're going to do is just kind of dry fit the tub into the space. So we're going to bring it in the room, set it down horizontally like it should be. Our tub that we're using doesn't require any kind of support back here on the wall, but some, again, it'll tell you in the instructions, some need, you know, a 1x4 or a 2x4 or some kind of block on the wall here for the back lip of the tub to sit on. The tub we're using sits on its front apron, the front outside edge of the tub that you see, and it's a fiberglass tub, so it's got an OSB panel basically formed right into the fiberglass for the bottom of the tub, and then out on this edge of it there's a sled or a bit of a skid there, or some feet that we can shim up on the floor to get everything level, so we don't need any support back here. Like I said, just check your instructions, it'll tell you if you do or not. Next thing, before I bring the tub in, I just want to see how level the floor is. It's important that we get the tub sitting in here level so that the water drains, for one thing. And I just like to check it before I actually have the tub in the way, just to kind of see what I'm up against. And it would appear, actually, we've got a joint here in the plywood floor that is right on a joist, and it would appear actually that joist is kind of the high spot out in the middle. So from this I can anticipate that I'm going to have to do a bit of shimming under this lip of the tub here and over here as well to support the weight, because that apron on the very front is what's supporting the outer edge, the weight of the tub. And then back here I'll probably have to do some shimming as well on that skid. So that's going to be a little difficult to really show. We'll insert a picture here just showing you the bottom of the tub so you can get an idea how that skid really looks, and then at least you kind of know what I'm talking about. But it's going to be difficult for me to really show how we shim it. We'll maybe try to take a shot from through this hole, but I'm not sure if it'll really work out that well for you to see. Once the tub is in level, we've got the plumbing all good to go, then we'll be drilling the flange of the tub. We've got to drill through it into the studs and put some screws in through there, so I'll show you how to do that as well. So I guess the thing is, to get started, we're gonna have to move the camera and a couple things out of the way, and we'll get the tub in the room, and then I'll show you just getting it down into place and dry fitting it. Okay, so I had the camera guy give me a hand to get this this fiberglass tub in here. While we were off air, he actually brought up a good question. He was wondering what I prefer to use for bathtubs. Now, he wasn't really referring to manufacturer, but as far as to the product. Basically, my response was any of them are good as long as, you know, they're a quality tub. If you buy a $200 or $100 bathtub, that's exactly what you're getting, is a lower end bathtub, usually flimsier. It's not going to last likely as long as a little bit heavier quality one. You know, if you spend $500 to $1,000, let's say, you're getting a real good tub, and it should be good quality, well built, some good strength in it and everything. So I think that's more important than the brand that's on the front of it. Different materials that you can get. This one's fiberglass. Acrylic tubs are another one. Steel tubs like what we took out of this original bathroom, those are available, and as well as cast iron. You can still get cast iron tubs as well. So like I said, I think it's more about you get what you pay for, like in most situations. So anyways, back to the topic at hand. We've got the tub standing here basically in place. What I want to do is basically roll this tub down and do a bit of jostling around and get it into position. It's a little bit difficult to do by yourself. That's what I'm going to try to attempt right now though. One thing you want to be careful of when you're doing it, and actually you'll notice on this tub, and I don't know if this is why they've done it, but you see this flange here on the front of the tub, they've actually clipped the corner off. That came like that. And one of the things that can happen when you're rolling these tubs over, because this corner, most of the weight's sitting on it while you're getting in position, they have a tendency that you might chip or break this corner. With this cut back like that, actually I think there's probably less chance of putting too much pressure on it, so it has more of a pivot point instead of getting that little flange caught. So I have no idea if that's why they actually cut that off, but just looking at it, it kind of makes sense that it might be part of the reason. So like I said, we inserted the picture of the bottom, so you've seen the skid that's back here, so I don't think that's an issue. I'm just going to do a little bit of maneuvering around here and get this tub sitting down in position so we can dry fit it. Now you'll notice I'm wearing gloves because this is a fiberglass tub. There's all kinds of fiberglass fibers sticking out that you don't want them as a sliver in your finger or anything. So wear some gloves. Be careful not to drop the tub on your toes. You can see I'm just kind of leaning it around. I got to kind of keep grabbing the bottom end to keep moving it around and repositioning it so I can get it laying down. Okay, well that wasn't actually too bad. So we've got it into position here. This bathroom, most standard tubs are made 5 foot, and 5 foot is what the framing from this wall over to this wall should be, and then your tub will fit in there. Even 5 foot a quarter or something like that gives you enough room. I've definitely got a little bit more than that in this bathroom, so I may have to do a little bit of playing around once I get it in position, but they should fit fairly tight to the framing. Okay, so I've got the tub sitting there. I'm just pulling up on the back, kind of pushing the tub back against the wall. And what I'm trying to do there is just find the position where it gets the tub level this way. The tricky part with tubs is figuring out the best spot to put your level on them. Some tubs are, you know, they got different slopes going on to help with drainage and that sort of thing, so sometimes it's not that easy to actually find what you think is a level spot here. On this particular tub, it looks to me like this upper shelf right here is probably the most level thing to set the level on. This top edge back here that goes all the way along the top, most people would think that is. It's not always, because usually that's where they've done some cutting or grinding when they take the tub out of the mold, so it's not generally all that true, but it looks to me like this shelf here should be pretty true, so that's what I'm going to go with. See if my level actually fits in there. Looks like it will. So I'm setting the level on there. I'm just having to look to see. That's actually pretty deadly level right there. I'm going to check both ends. So I'll check back here as well. And it looks like that back corner could come up just a hair, so I'm going to see what happens if I just lift there and push this back end in a little bit. Let's see if I get a little more close to level. That's better. So there's definitely a shim that I'm going to need back there. That drain end is really good. So I know right now that I'll probably be putting a shim back under there, back under that back ledge. I'm just going to see what we have here. Yeah, and it's saying same thing, that back corner needs to come up. So you know, like I said, I just wanted to dry fit, get a bit of an idea where level is with the tub. I can see along the front here. We can check here as well. I'm suspecting that this might be pretty close. Oh, it looks like this whole end maybe has to come up just a hair. Like I mentioned before, I'm sitting right down on this joint on the plywood, right on this floor joist. I'm tight, but I'm up there and up a little bit over here, so I will have to do a bit of shimming there. You can see that we cut the subfloor back here. We're removing all the subfloor and doing new stuff. So we just cut it back extra far to be sure we had room to kind of show you what we had to show you down there. Okay, so we just kind of dry fitting here. I'm just going to grab some shims, put in some shims in the appropriate spots, and then you know, get the tub to where it's sitting level. And then we're actually going to pull the tub out to get the plumbing all lined up, or sorry, get the plumbing cut and fit so that it'll line up. Okay, so we're just going to use some cedar shims to shim up the tub in, like I said, the 2 front corners and the 2 corners on that back skid. So just start by sticking some in roughly, just taking up the space that's there. Stick one in just under there for some place to start. And we'll throw the level back on and just kind of fine tune things a little bit. So I need to come up here. Still need to come up a little bit. Okay, and like I said, I just kind of like to do this before I get the plumbing hooked up, so that when I'm measuring for the plumbing, I know that the tub is really close to where it needs to be. So we're pretty good across there, which means this here, if we just level that up, actually it's good where I stuck that shim in. That's solid. The same thing here. And I've just got to stick a shim in there. I just have to go out of the room to do that. So I'll get that all done up, but we'll pull the tub out and we'll actually do a demonstration on the plumbing. I guess I could show kind of how I do some of the figuring for the plumbing. Okay, so these are the pieces out of the kit, the drain kit that I bought. Like I said, it comes with, you know, some pipe and the fittings and everything. One thing when you're putting this together, I'm going to talk about it right now so I don't forget. So this is the way it would be under the tub. Here's the drain for the tub. If you see how this TY, the neck of this piece here slopes and drains down, you don't want to have it in there so it's actually upside down. I think you can see that. If I had it in actually upside down, you can see the curvature of that neck going the wrong way. So just pay attention to this and make sure that it's sloping down. Some of them aren't even as easy to tell as this one, but if you actually spend a second and just look at it, you'll see which way is up and which way is down. Okay, so I just thought I'd better mention that while I was thinking of it. So basically what I want to do is just carefully step into the tub, because I don't have the shims 100% tight. What I did to start out with is I put these 2 pieces together. You remember how we had the joist under there that I said might be a little bit in the way? So I want to make sure that I get the distance from the drain out to where this pipe can fit from the joist to be all right. So I just stuck the pieces they gave me together and just reached around here so I can see the drain at the hole, and I can feel that I've got a little bit of play one way or the other, and that I'm not actually under the corner of the tub. Now I've already cut this, but I had to do a bit of fiddling and cut this piece of pipe that's in there to the right length so that would all work out. Once I had that determined, and by the way, that I think we can work around the joist there, so I think we're going to be all right. Then I just stuck on the piece of pipe and the overflow fitting on top of all that. Did the same thing, stuck it around out there. Basically could see when I'm holding everything level by the way it matches up to the bottom of the tub. And then I was just looking through this overflow hole to see how it lined up with the circumference of here. And then I just measured, took a measurement and cut this pipe to what I needed. So anyways, in the end, now I've got a drain that everything should just line up and fit exactly the way it needs to. There is 2 other things that are added on here. There'll be a gasket that sits down here between, like sits on top of here, between this and the bottom side of the tub. And then there's a big foam gasket that fits here that also fits between the back side of the tub and here. So So you got to allow a little bit for the thickness of those. So once you see all your pieces, you'll have a better idea. So anyways, you've probably seen on other videos where I've cut this ABS pipe before. You could use a miter saw, you could use a hack saw, reciprocating saw, skill saw, or circular saw, I should say. You know, kind of whatever. You want to get a nice clean cut. Be careful when you're doing the cutting. I wouldn't recommend cutting it on a table saw. I did that once and it binded on the blade and a piece shot back and hit me in the gut. It left me quite a welt and a bruise for a while. So you can see even when you're somebody who's used to doing this sort of thing, you make one mistake and you pay for it for a few days. So I definitely wouldn't cut it on the table saw. A little too dangerous, but most of the other saws is good. Just make sure you get a nice clean square cut. If you get a bunch of burrs on the inside or even the outside, just take a knife or a file and just clean those off so that it's a clean cut, just like this one is here. So okay, so seeing as I've got this all roughed up, I don't know that we probably don't really need to pull the tub out like we were going to show doing it. It really wasn't that bad to do here. And it is really, this is the way to figure out how to do this, is to have your tub sitting right in place, because you've got all the other, like you might have a joist, you might have some other plumbing in the way. So you need to be able to figure it all out sitting where it's supposed to be so that you can make it fit. So I don't think I'm going to worry about that. One thing when you go to, because this needs to be glued together with ABS glue, you need to make sure that everything is flat and true. As far, you don't want to try to line this up. I'm exaggerated obviously, but you don't want to try to line that up because, right, none of that's going to line up and seal very well. So you need everything to be true to how it lines up on the tub. So what I usually do is once I got everything, I think, cut to length, I'm not worrying about this yet, by the way. We'll talk about that after. Once I've got all this other fit, and before I glue it, I'll actually put my gaskets on there and try it all and just be sure that everything is fit, and then pull it out of there carefully so I'm not bumping and turning it. I use a silver Jiffy marker and I put some marks on the different pieces and fittings so that when I take it all apart and go to glue it together, everything, I can just line up those marks and I know I've got my angles right. So I think enough said about that. I'm going to go ahead and glue this all together, and then we'll come back, fasten it to the tub. We'll do one less check on leveling the tub up. We'll fasten the tub to the wall, and then we're just about wrapped up. So let me slip away, glue this up, and then we'll be right back. We've taken the tub right out of the room just to make it a little easier, just showing actually installing the drain plumbing to it. So like I said, you're going to have this all glued up. You're going to find these couple gaskets in the bag that comes with it. This one is a little bit tapered. You can see that. Generally the fat edge goes to the top, and this one fits on the vent plumbing. There's usually a lip there that kind of snaps in around. And this one, just clean off the dust. So that all goes like this. So now when the tub's in place, you generally can usually only put this on when the tub is sitting where it's going to go. So you put your gaskets on, wiggle your plumbing in around under there and get things kind of lined up with where you want to be, like so. Just got to get down here and have a look. That's not going to work. We reconfigured to get around the joist. It's all going to work. I'll just show you, actually I'll put these on. Here's those gaskets that I was talking about that come with the kit. So there's one that is kind of slightly tapered, and it goes up on the vent, usually with the thick side to the top. So just check it all out with how your shape of your tub is. This one here goes down here. So we'll take this around. And the problem we were having before is because we were trying to slope this vent to get around that duct, the bottom piece was looking like that, and it obviously wasn't going to seal up doing that. So now we've got this, if I can get it right up into the right position, now we've got this sitting a lot more parallel to where it needs to be. once we get that all sucked up in there and tight, we should be good. So I'm going to come back up top here. I'm just going to set that down. We also need to place some plumber's putty right here. So I'm cleaning off any dust. If your tub was wrapped in some plastic sheething, some of them have a film on it to protect it. You need to pull that off, or at least pull it off around the drain. I've taken some plumber's putty, kneaded it a little bit so it's workable. Oops, and made this plumber's putty snake. This is the drain insert that goes down through the top side of the tub there. I'm just putting the plumber's putty, I just wrap that around there. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to hold this underneath, line things up with the hole here. I'm not too concerned about the vent part of it just straight away, but I just want to get that lined up. Got to get this to start in the threads. And I've got to tighten that all up. So as I'm doing that, I'm just kind of holding the vent part relatively close to where it needs to be. We can adjust it a little bit if we have to after. You can see as I tighten that up, the excess putty just wants to squirt out all around there. It fills up the void, and the excess is pushed out of the joint. And we just get that tightened up. I'm just going to have a look under here. Okay, so again, I'll go back to my screwdriver for some leverage. I'm just going to get rid of some of this putty. We definitely had enough in there. Get that out of the way. As I tighten this up. And you don't need to get too crazy tight with it, but definitely needs to be snugged up really good, and you would clean off that excess. Our venting piece here, basically what holds it in place is we've got this cover, and we insert 2 screws through the cover into the holes that are already in that plumbing. And that, when we tighten these up, it just pulls that gasket that we put onto it, onto the black pipe. It just pulls that gasket tight across the back. And this is really doing a couple things. It's allowing a bit of a vent for water, or sorry, for air, so that the tub drains better. And it also is more so it's there for overflow. So if I don't know, for some reason you started to fill the tub, you had the plug in, you started to fill the tub, and you got called away. I don't know, you went to answer the phone or something, you forgot about the tub running. The tub will only fill so high until it spills over into this trapway. I should have showed you, there's a cutout on the bottom of that. But anyways, it can get into that pipe and it just goes straight down the drain, so that it can actually overfill the tub. So you get those started in. Oh, I should have removed that decal there. I'll pull that off after. And again, if there's any plastic sheeting on your tub, just pull it off before you put this on. Sometimes this cover is just like chrome plated plastic, so don't torque it up too much or you're going to break it. This one's metal, but it doesn't have to be super tight. Just get it snugged up there nice and good. We have a look underneath. You can see that our gasket here has gotten snugged up nice and tight and took up all that gap. So you've got both the plumber's putty and that rubber gasket making your seal down there. As you come up the drain, you can see we did our crazy little couple 45s to get jogged around that joist and up. And we've got this foam gasket around here that's been snugged in to make that seal. So most times you may not be able to put the tub in with that all attached to the tub. Like we brought it out here into the kitchen area just so we could film it more than anything. Now that we have that little jog in there, we actually might be able to get that in place with that drain all in there. If not, we'll have to take out everything I just showed you as far as the drain, the chrome parts, redo the plumber's putty and everything once we have the tub in place and reinsert it. But we'll try first maybe just carting this in there and see if we can get it sitting down in the right place with that drain on. Okay, so we brought the tub back in the room, and actually we did get it in with the plumbing on, so that was a bonus. That's one thing that's gone right so far. We reset our shims, got it all leveled up again. Now, you don't want to just leave those shims there, they're floating around loose, because they're eventually going to work their way out as the tub moves a little bit when you're walking in it or whatever. So what you want to do is just take a pencil or a knife, mark along the this one's, I better just recheck that. That one was just kind of floating in the middle of nowhere. We're level there. We're still good there. So when your shims are in tight, you just run a knife right along it. So it basically gives you a mark where it should be broken off. Now at that point, basically if you just put anything there, I'm just going to lean my hammer against that, pull up on this outer side. You want to try to get rid of that. Usually it'll just break off, but of course it didn't on here. So I'm just trying to break it off clean so that it won't stick out from under the tub. Okay, so there's our shim at the right distance out. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of adhesive on the back so that once I slide it under there and it gets positioned where I need it, the glue will set up and just hold it there so it doesn't move away on us. So I'll just put a bit of adhesive here, snug it up underneath there, trying not to get glue all over my hand. Okay, so we're just under the tub. If it sticks out a little bit, it's all right because we've got to put subfloor up against there anyway. So I'm going to do that on every shim. And once I've done that, then what we can do is go around and put the screw holes in the flange of the tub. This is the flange, this upper part right here, into every stud. Put a screw in there. You might have noticed, since I'm talking about the tub, you might have noticed these dowels or these pins sticking up. This tub actually comes with a 3-piece rigid fiberglass wall system. We won't be showing that for this video just because it's kind of a specialty thing that you're not going to find with every tub. So, but basically those systems just are set up to sit right down on those pins. Those pins align them where they need to be, and then it just, there's a flange all the way around the wall pieces too that screw onto the wall. The other thing I'm going to mention is that I think earlier in the video you'll remember me saying that this room was framed just a little bit wider than it needed to be for the tub. So it ended up, actually we've got about 3/4 of an inch total extra in width. So I've taken some pieces of 3/8 plywood as a spacer, and because it's under an inch wider than the bathroom, we're still going to be all right, because even once the drywall, now in this tub it won't, the drywall will come up against the front edge, but same difference. Because the drywall's 1/2 inch, this is actually going to end up being pretty flush, so it'll all work out in the wash. Anyways, these 3/8 pieces of plywood are just a spacer to put in here, so when I screw it in, to take up that space in between. So I'll put those in there when I screw the tub into position, and then we should be pretty much ready for our wrap up at that point. Oh, I guess we got to show the P-trap down underneath there, the actual finished drain hookup. So anyways, I'm going to pull all these shims out, get them glued down, and then we'll come back and screw the tub to the wall. Okay, so we've got our shims all glued in. Now we're going to fasten the wall to the tub to the wall. I've already did some of the other holes. I'm just going to show you how to do this one. So you don't have to use this type of bit. I've got a bit that's pre-drilling the shank of the screw as well as a countersink, but basically as long as you had a countersink here, that's all you really need. So I'm going to hold this, switch my hands around so you can see. Hold that in there. And I'm just going to drill through it all at one shot. Like that. This stud is really, why is it so loose? There we go. It's just twisted or something. I'll start that in there. Snug that back there like that. So in your case, you may not have that little strip of plywood in there, like at the back. I'm just right against the studs there. Your tub will tell you in the instructions whether they require you to fasten it there or not. So just make sure you read your instructions pertaining to the tub that you're using. So, okay, so we got that all in there. We are going to switch around to the bottom so we can show me hooking up the P-trap on the drain, and then we basically got the tub installed. At this point it'd be ready up here for drywall and then tile or tub surround, whatever you're putting on. Okay, so we got down under the floor here, under the tub where the drain or where the plumbing comes down, and there's just not enough, hardly enough room here for me to get in there and hook it up myself without trying to have it so you could see it on the tape. So we're just gonna have you maybe go to our other video on cutting and installing ABS pipe. So if you go to the YouTube channel and check that video out of ours, you'll see us actually doing a P-trap in there, which is in the wide open. It's easy to see, and I think you'll get more out of it than trying to watch me. All you're gonna see is the back of my shoulders here when I'm trying to do this. So. But basically what we have to do at this point is get a P-trap on the bottom of that drain line that comes down and hooked into the main drain of the house. I just have it sitting there kind of unfinished right now. So, so I think that's about all I can really do for now for the drain. Okay, so just in a wrap up on the how to install a bathtub video, I'm sorry that this video maybe wasn't as good as a lot of the videos I've done, but bathtub isn't the easiest thing. You're fighting a lot of situations, especially when you're trying to video it. For one thing, it's just hard to get the camera in at the right angles. There's not a lot of room to work, and every bathroom's a little different. So, bathroom is or a bathtub install is a DIY project. Yeah, it definitely is. If you have very limited experience, maybe with plumbing and a couple issues like that, then possibly it might be a little over your head. But it's more about taking your time, getting the tub in level and square and straight. That's 90% of the job, and after that it's just a matter of fastening it down and hooking up the plumbing. So you know, at least hopefully in this video we gave you the basic idea, some of the situations you might come across. I couldn't even count how many tubs I've installed, everything from steel to cast iron to fiberglass, acrylic, whatever. Everyone's just slightly different. Not one just falls into place and everything's perfect. So, you know, take your time, do it right the first time so you don't have leaks or anything down the road. And hopefully what we showed you here will help you along with that process. So please check out our forum. There's a link to the website just below here in the comments for this video. And that'll take you right to the website, and from there you can find all our articles and the forum page. Make any comments you need to there in the forum, and I'll try to get back to you. Also, like I've mentioned already before, check out our YouTube channel, and I believe there's a link to that up in this corner. I'm not too sure, but I think there is one there to house improvements, and from there you can find all our other videos, including the ABS, how to cut ABS pipe. So thanks for watching, and tune in for our next ones.